So this next section we're going to cover multiplying with complex number, multiplying with imaginary numbers. So it's the same concept as when you're multiplying with variables, working with law of exponents. So let's work on the first example. Say you have 5i times 7 minus 2i. So when you're multiplying, since you have 5i in front of the parenthesis, you're going to distribute. So 5i times 7 is kind of like 5x times 7. So 5i times 7 will be 35i. And then we do 5i times minus 2i. So again, it's going to be like 5x times minus 2x, which would be negative 10x squared. Since we have I, it's going to be negative 10 because of the 5 times minus 2. And then I times I will be I squared. Now, here, we're not finished, and we need to simplify. Now, this is the part where you have to be very careful. These two are not the same, so we cannot combine like terms. That's I and that's I squared. They're different. But we always want to make sure that in our final answer we get just I. So when you have I squared, I to the third, or I fourth, you simplify into either 1 or I. So make sure to simplify down to I. So in this case, we have an I squared. We can simplify that. So step by step, I'm going to bring down 35i because there's nothing else you can do to simplify. I bring down to minus 10. Now I squared is negative 1. So since it's negative 10i squared, I'm going to put negative 10 parenthesis negative 1 close parenthesis. Simplifying that, 35i, and then negative 10 times negative 1 will be a positive 10. And then when we write our final answer, we always put the real number first, so 10, and then we put the complex imaginary number second. So that's a positive 30i, so it's going to be plus 35i. And that is our final answer. So that's how you would work if you have a complex number just in front of the parenthesis. Now there's still more multiplying. Here it was just simply distributing. Let's talk about when we are foiling. So again, 5i times 7 minus 2i is just 10 plus 35i. So what happens if you have binomial terms? So for example, 2 plus 6i times 3 minus 4i. So in this case, we're going to have to FOIL. Let's see. Alright, foiling, or you can use the box method. I'm going to FOIL the 2 to the 3 and to the negative 4i. So 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times negative 4i will be negative 8i. Then the second half of foiling would be the 6i to the 3 and negative 4i. So 6i times 3 is going to be a positive 18i. And then 6i times negative 4i will be negative 24i squared. Now, this next part, here after after we finish foiling, next is we're going to combine like terms. So this one we can combine because it both has i's. And again, I squared is different from i's. So when we are combining like terms, we're not messing with the 6. So the 6 stays the same. But we are combining negative 8i plus 18i. So negative 8i plus 18i is just plus 10i. And then bring down the negative 24i squared. And we still have to simplify because I squared equals to negative 1. So again, when you're simplifying, you want to break it down or get it down to just where you only have i's, or when it's I to the 4, you set it equal to 1. This case, the only thing I'm changing is the I squared. So 6 stays the same, plus 10i stays the same, the minus 24 stays the same. Now I squared will change to negative 1. So now I can simplify. So 6 plus 10i, negative 24 times negative 1 is plus 24. And then that will simplify too, because these two are real numbers. I can combine them. So 6 plus 24 is 30, which I will put first. And then I'll put the complex imaginary number second. So 10i. So 2 plus 6i times 3 minus 4i simplify to 30 plus 10i. So when we're simplifying, well, first foiling, FOIL correctly, combine like terms, simplify I squared if you have it, which we got negative 1, then simplify again, negative 24 times negative 1 was a positive 24, and then combine these two like terms, so 30 plus 10i. But let's do another example to be well familiar with foiling with complex numbers. So, say in this example, we have 3 minus 2i, and then 5 minus, let's say we do 8i. So we have 3 minus 2i times 5 minus 8i. So again, we're going to FOIL. So the first half of FOIL is the 3 to the 5 and the 8i, the negative 8i. So 3 times 5, that's going to be 15. 3 times negative 8i will be negative 24i. And then the second half of foiling, so negative 2i, because of the minus, times 5 will be negative 10i. And then negative 2i times negative 8i, positive 16i squared. Remember, I times I is I squared. And then, after foiling, we're going to combine like terms, because we have 2 that has I, so we can combine those two. Which, the ones that didn't change was 15, and then the positive 16i squared. But let's combine these two. So negative 24i minus 10i, they're both negative, so they're both going to become 34i, and I'll bring down the plus 16i squared. And now we have to simplify the I squared. I squared is negative 1, so I'm going to rewrite it, changing only the I squared. So 15 stays the same, minus 34i stays the same, plus 16 will stay the same, but I squared will change to negative 1. So The only thing I'm changing is 16 negative 1. Well, times negative 1. So 15 stays the same. Negative 34i stays the same. But 16 times negative 1 would become negative 16. And then I'm combining like terms because 15 and negative 16 are real numbers. So 15 minus 16 will be negative 1. And then bring negative 34i. So our final answer is negative 1 minus 34i. So 3 minus 2i times 5 minus 8i will simplify to negative 1 minus 34i. And again, we got that by FOILing first, and then combining like terms, simplifying I squared to negative 1, simplify again by 16 times negative 1 to negative 16, and then combine like terms again with real numbers to negative 1 minus 34i.